Welcome to Kimcast Art. As promised, we're going to do some flesh tones here. So I got a little bit of shadow here. I'm trying to get rid of that shadow somewhat. Let me see if I can do that real quick. And what we're going to do is try to do some simple skin tones. And so we'll run through the colors real quick, just so you know. And I'll have them flash up, scroll up the screen also. We got Payne's Gray. For blue, we're just using cobalt blue. I got these kind of from dark to light. Sap green, burnt sienna, Lisbon crimson, cad red, orange, yellow ochre, medium yellow. Cad yellow will work too, or even a lemon yellow will work, and just titanium white. And as you notice, I don't have really a black. I'm using Payne's Gray. I find that that's usually better to use than plain black. So the first thing we're going to do is just start out with a base color of our skin tone. So where do you start? I start with a little bit of burnt sienna. And I probably should have got some rags here. And grab one. So we'll use some burnt sienna as a base, sort of. And there's lots of different ways you can start, but that's how I do it myself. So for practicing purposes, that may be where you may want to start. And you'll see just a minute here. Let me get some rags here. I should have had these prepared already. It's a good place to start. Now, I'm going to just wipe my brush off a little bit and grab a little bit of white. And if you look here, with just the burnt sienna itself and a little bit of white, you've got a pretty fair skin tone. So if we started, we come over here, we get something darker, you get a darker tone. Add a little bit more sienna right there. And then if we come across the other side, even darker, and right here. And we're going to move these down here in a minute. And then if you grab a little bit of Payne's Gray, you can get even darker. To whatever darkness you want, which will help with your shadows. So if we start with darker right here, wash the brush off. And we'll bring down one that's a little bit lighter right next to it. You can see the tonal difference already. And we'll go with one that's just a little bit lighter. And you should be able to see that pretty clearly. Then you grab the lighter one right here. And you probably would want to take that same color, add a little bit more white to drop down another step right here, just like that. Now to these, you may want to add a little crimson to each one of these, very little, just a little. And that helps you get an even a little bit pinkier color. So if you do that, you could come right here and you'll see the difference. And that's not quite as dark, but it is a darker color, darker flesh. Then we'll go with the next one. Not much paint there, but let's add a little more to it. You wipe the brush off, and we'll go with the one that's just a little bit lighter. And that doesn't seem to be too much lighter right there. I'll probably move some of that sienna out, so we'll fix that. You can hardly see that tonal difference until you get a lot lighter. And then you'll see, you'll start getting even lighter. And you'll get that little bit of a rosy glow to it, like for cheeks and stuff like that. And probably you may even want to add more to that, to one of your darker ones. So we'll just drop that one maybe over here, and you'll see it's a little bit darker with the crimson. Another thing you can do is take some yellow ochre, a little bit of yellow ochre, add a little bit of white to it, and there's another skin tone. So if you put that right down there, you'll see that's your yellower skin tones. Add a little bit of white to it, and lighten it up from there. Add a little bit more. And these would be good for a lot of those highlights, those skin tones that get lighter and lighter and lighter. Add a little bit more white to it. And you see it just keeps getting whiter and whiter and whiter. Just keep going. It gets lighter and lighter and lighter until eventually you get almost a white color. To those tones, you could be going different ways. Like you could probably add a little bit of blue, and you'll find that there'll be some paintings, get too much blue, you want just a tiny little bit, and this could be like a grayish shadow right there, a grayish like shadow, and it's almost a green, but it's not green, but it almost is. Add a little bit of that over to here, to the next one, lightens up a little bit. The skin, people find it hard to believe, but skin tones do have green and blue, and if you look at somebody's face really close, you'll see these tones in there. When you get your lighter one, and you can see the tonal difference there just by doing that. Make it even a little bit lighter over here. Another color that a lot of artists will use is orange. Orange, believe it or not, really it does make a good skin tone. So if you take some orange and add some white to it, you'll see that really is a skin tone. Add a little bit more white, get a little bit lighter, some more white, pull it over the side from there, and you'll get even lighter. And you'll start to see you're getting skin tones just from orange. It's lighter, a little more white. And even lighter, just like that. And this also applies to the fact of, the other one used blue, but you could do that with green. So we could actually add a little bit of green to this one over here, and you'll get another tone entirely by just adding that little bit of green, which again could be shadows, could be around the cheekbones, could be around the eyes, could be anywhere there. Get that same green, bring it over to the next one. And it's a little bit lighter, but it's got that tint of green. You can tell there's a big noticeable difference. Add a little bit of that green into the next tone. A little bit lighter with a touch of green. And go down even more with that green in it. Like so. And that's pretty close to some of the other ones, but that's how you can get them colors. And you can even make it a little bit whiter, a little bit whiter in there, white in there rather, and get it even lighter. And you see, those tones will all work. And when you're looking at somebody's face, that's what you want to look for, is these different colors. So it always pays to make a chart so you can see exactly what those colors are doing. Okay, so let's take, you could even pull in some yellow, and just start experimenting a little bit. Take a little bit of yellow, maybe a little bit of ochre, right there like that. Maybe add some white to it. like so. And you could even come over here with another skin tone. You can make skin tones from a combination of many different colors. So if you want to go lighter with that, you get lighter, even lighter, just add more white. Like so, and you could just keep working that out. I'll put it over here, put a bit more white, and get an even lighter tone. So you can also take, and you could darken that by pulling in maybe a little bit of burnt sienna, and get yet another skin tone. So we do that with a little bit of burnt sienna right there. Wipe that off. Put a little bit of white in that. Lighten it up a little bit. And you can see them skin tones are actually working. Lighten it some more. Like so. And then lighten it even more. But it is a totally different color of skin tone. Just like that. And that goes for gray. Adding some Payne's gray will also kind of dim it down some. Give that a little bit more of a shadowy color. Like so. We need to dim it down. We're going to go actually the other way, darker here on this one. We'll get a little bit darker. Add a little bit of Payne's gray. Not like so. It's a little bit darker. And say you could even add a little bit of blue to even darken it some more. Instead of just using any kind of a black or gray, you put a little bit of blue in there, and it gets a little bit darker yet. Maybe a little bit more. And this is almost going to a green color. But you'll see those colors in somebody's face, around their ears or neck, things like that. Very important to get them colors. Pick some Payne's gray, and for your shadows, you know, you may be doing some Payne's gray in your shadow right there. And then you probably, especially if it's on the neck, you probably actually put a little bit of crimson in there. And I'm not sure if you can quite tell the difference from the camera here, but you could put a little bit of crimson, maybe a little bit more. And you'll see that crimson in there. That's actually lightened up a bit thinner. And even some cad red. Put a little bit of cad red in there. And that will give you that darker shadow, but with a reddish hue to it. And then go from there, add some white to it, and then you'll almost be a purplish color. But it will lighten up that shadow. You can see that's a pretty good shadow color right there. Add some more white to get that lighter shadow, because you want your shadows to work out darker to lighter. Add more white, like so. Just like that. And you get some nice shadow colors. And those are things that you have to have when you're painting. Now there's other colors, tones you may want to use, like take some more of the burnt sienna. And you may want to actually pull it down a little bit with some Payne's gray and make it a bit bolder shadow. But in a brown tone, a brown shade. I think we'll go even darker on this side, and we can start right here, and you can see that's kind of a brownish tone, and you can always tone that with a little bit of crimson or red. Experiment with it so you can see what it will do. That does help a lot. So then you're going the darker, we'll add a little bit of white, just a tiny bit, and we're going to bring it up a little bit to different tones. A little more white. More white. Some more tone. And even more white. to get the lighter tone. And from there, you may actually even want to put even a little bit of orange in there. I know it's a little bit hard to tell from there, but add a little bit more orange, and you can get another tone altogether, just like that. So, experiment with it, and this is the best way to do skin tones, is to get some paper out and practice with them different tones. I would say try some, don't be afraid to try things. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna, like so. And then you have another tone right there. It'll be similar to some of the other ones. Add a little bit of black, Payne's gray rather, or even a lot more. And you'll get another tone, like so. Lighten that up a little bit. And so you're getting a lighter one there, more white. And just keep progressively, just a little bit at a time. You can drop them colors up, or make them brighter or darker or whatever you want, just like so. Add some more white. And it's barely tinting it, right there like that, until eventually you can work it right out. And it's not uncommon for your palette to look like this over here, kind of a messy looking thing, but it's not uncommon for that to happen. But you know what you're doing, so you'll know where your colors are, and then you'll be able to see them a lot better, which helps a lot. Same with these other darker tones here. You may want to actually go to a greener side. So if you've got some sienna, you may want to pull a darker amount of green in, which is another tone, right here, just like so. And you can go from either side. You could actually make that a little bit browner, and get another tone, and then add a little white, and lighten that tone up, like so. And just keep on going. So that's just a good way to start doing skin tones. Remember, don't be afraid to try things, and that's what's important. You want to make sure that you try. This is acrylic paint I'm using right here, just so you know. But just try to experiment with it, and you can see. Get a close-up shot of that. Actually, remember, it's just the opposite for the camera. So, got that, and I'm sure you can see the palette, but I'll pull it over here anyway, just so you can look better. And that concludes today's lesson, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you the next time. Happy painting!